Welcome to Healthy Frontiers. My name is Dr. Bisogni. I'm a chiropractor. This show is dedicated to the education of our viewers. The topic for tonight is the science and health benefits of ASEA. And my special guest is Perry DiNapoli. Perry is a fourth-generation entrepreneur who's owned food businesses for well over 20 years. Anthony's Deli, Anthony's Gift Baskets, Anthony's on Broadway, and now Angelina's of Tuckahoe and the Old Stone Mill restaurants. He's a founder of Rising Tides Alliance Business Network and chief contributor to several other business organizations. He serves as co-chairman of the Leadership Committee for Institute for Applied Human Dynamics, known as IAHD, which services nearly 1,000 individuals with multiple disabilities in the Westchester and in the Bronx area, as well as contributor to over a dozen other area charitable organizations. I'd like to welcome Perry to the show.
My pleasure, Doctor. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Perry. So, Perry, why don't we just start and tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and the industry.
Well, we're been in the area here of the White Plains area now for about better part of the last 20 years.
Right.
Been married for about 25 years. I have three beautiful girls. All went through the Good Counsel Academy up here in White Plains, and now they're off in various colleges and universities doing their thing.
Sure.
But we love this area.
Right.
Love it.
Right. Tell us about the industry a little bit, and how you got involved in that, and what it's done for you, just as a preface here.
Okay. Well, as you stated, I've been in the food industry between the delis, restaurants, catering businesses for the last 22 plus years. Right. And anyone who's been in that industry knows that it requires tons of hours and tons of commitment and just never-ending calendar. So I've always enjoyed better ways of doing business, and as time went on, I had been introduced to network marketing as an industry about 15 years ago, and I was fascinated with it. I was like, you mean I could actually expand a business and do something and have fun with it and actually make some money, and I don't have to buy another building, I don't have to hire more employees, I don't have to... So it became something that I kind of enjoyed a lot, and I've been looking for many, many years for something that suited me just right.
Right. Seems like you found something, right? You would take in this product that we're going to talk about, which is a medical product, and as you seem to have felt a lot better, and so it's brought you into the direction to the point of let's ask you about Verdes Norton and Jim Pack and why they created this business model with ASEA.
Sure. Well, when I was first introduced to this product, it was actually 3 years ago, next month, and I was received a phone call from someone I know you know, a Dr. Foster Malmed, a chiropractor, who's a very good friend of mine and someone I respect very much. But he called me up and he told me that he had a product that was really crucial to the healing process, and it was something I needed to know about. So I was excited. I said, "What is it?" And he told me it was made from salt water. I wasn't excited anymore.
Right, doesn't excite.
And so it took him, but I listened to him because I know Dr. Foster's a very serious guy, and so I knew that he doesn't get excited very easily. And he was pretty excited. Yeah. And he had actually introduced it up to Putnam County Hospital, and he had many, many patients taking the product. So he had some really good information. Right. Good. But I wasn't really looking because I had been burned by many, many businesses. Sure. And a product business wasn't something that I really had an experience in, and I just felt that I have very little, I have no medical background, I have no supplement background to speak of. As a matter of fact, I'm going to follow my notes because I failed 10th grade biology and had to go to summer school, as well as the other reason why I'll follow my notes you'll find is that I tend to run on a lot and speak a lot. So the notes will keep me organized.
That's right.
But when Dr. Foster was explaining to me about this product, I listened. And I did what I would say what most business people and entrepreneurs should do. Whenever they're exposed to something new, listen. Because you never know what you might hear. And on his 4th or 5th phone call to me, I actually heard something that made sense to me. So I said to him, okay, I'll try it. I said, I'll try your salt water. I'll do it for 30 days. But don't tell nobody. And I did try it, and the product worked exceptionally well on me and made me feel better. Gave me a lot more energy and a lot more get up and go, we'll say, and plus some chronic issues that I've been dealing with for over 2 decades just seemed to get better. My wife noticed it. She was like, how come you're waking up ahead of your alarm clock? And how come you're doing this? And I said, I feel great. So fast forward, Verdes Norton and Jim Pack. When I did my research, before jumping in and really expanding and building this as a business and taking this to a lot of people, I decided to find out who was Verdes Norton and who was Jim Pack. And I was pleasantly surprised. These two men are incredible. I've had the opportunity to be in their company. I've had dinner with them. I've had lunch with them. I've been exposed to them now about a dozen times each. And they're very impressive business people. Vertus himself actually has a history in this area of White Plains. He was the vice president of strategy and development for Kraft Foods. Back in the golden era of Kraft Foods, when they merged with General Foods and that big thing happened 20 or so years ago. Vertus was one of the integral people who made that happen. And it made him a somebody in strategic development in the food in corporate world.
Of course.
So when he retired from that, he ended up moving out to Utah, and he worked with another pharmaceutical company, took on a new career at the age of 63, and learned the whole pharmaceutical process and really, dove into it head first. 5 years later, retired from his second career, and received a phone call from this company, this small pharmaceutical product company, that was developing this product that was a different name at the time, but they had this amazing technology, and they were making some pretty amazing claims to Vertus. But he did his research, and he decided that this was something he needed to do. So Vertus, with his 40 years of corporate structure, and Jim, who is his good friend and golfing buddy, by the way. Many businesses get developed on the golf course. For sure. Just like this one did. Jim and Vertus decided to jump in, buy the technology, and they thought they had a billion-dollar situation here. They would develop it, stabilize the product, sell it to a pharmaceutical company, and just make tons and tons of money. But what happened is along the way, ASEA started to make some changes, and at that point they had named it. They hired Dr. Gary Samuelson, who's a real somebody he's a nanotechnology scientist. Brilliant man. And Dr. Gary was able to stabilize the product very quickly, and he got done what so many scientists could not do before that. So Vertus and Jim decided to take this to the public instead of going the pharmaceutical route. It didn't really make sense for them because they knew that the technology might be lost, and it would take years and years of study and research to go all out. They decided to take it to the public and do something that they had never done: get involved in network marketing, and
And here you are.
And it's proven, we're now almost a 4-year-old company. It's proven to be the absolute best move ever.
Great. So why don't we, with that introduction then, why don't we tell the folks out there what ASEA is? Actually, what is ASEA, and why all the benefits?
Okay, great. I'm going to refer
Let's
to
go
my
with
notes.
it.
Okay?
Go for your notes.
So ASEA, as we know, is a non-toxic, perfectly balanced mixture of redox signaling molecules, and that's similar to those molecules that are produced in all living cells. ASEA enhances and activates the native antioxidants that are needed to protect, detoxify the cells, and at the same time supplement the signaling molecules needed to repair, replace damaged cells. It restores healthy tissue and immune function. So that's a big sentence and a big answer. So what it does is ASEA does what the body stops doing as we age.
Which we're going to talk about we get near the end, about anti-aging and the benefits of this, the possibilities here. Okay, but what about redox signaling molecules? Okay, so that's a big word for a lot of people. So why don't we just break it down a little bit and tell us a little bit about them.
Okay, so redox signaling molecules are transformational technology in terms of scientific research. This is something that actually most people in the medical field and the scientific field are having a very slow time to accept this technology. But in 1998, a team of scientists in Italy actually won a Nobel Prize for discovering just one of these molecules. So this is new study. It's only been around 15 years. And when a couple of years ago, when I first looked into redox signaling, because right away I like to do my own research. No matter what you tell me, I'm going to go find out for myself. That's just the way my body.
Did that to become a chiropractor, so I understand. Go ahead.
So I did my own research, and I would go to the, if you went to the internet, well, there were a couple of 100,000 articles on redox signaling at the time, which was pretty vast, but nothing extraordinary. A lot of it was marketing. But what Dr. Foster Malmed told me was go check out PubMed.gov. And PubMed.gov is as you know, the government's database of scientific articles and research. And at the time, there was less than 1,000 articles on redox signaling. So it wasn't, which was still a decent number, but it wasn't anywhere near enough research and development that people were taking it serious.
Sure.
So I did some research, and I just found out, as of now, there's 10,500 articles.
Yeah.
So in the last 2.5 years, the amount of research and scientific data going in on research on redox signaling molecules is extraordinary. And if you look at the dates of all the published articles,
yes.
July 21st, there's 50. July 22nd, there's another 50.
Recent, so getting more excited, the medical community.
Exactly, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So what are these redox signaling molecules? They are what's in our body as these cells, and these cells, they take salt water and they create these redox signaling molecules in our body, and that is what's sent throughout our body to help the healing process.
Right.
And as we age, they start depleting. They're not reproducing at an efficient enough state.
Right.
And this is the first time ever that redox signaling molecules have been produced outside the body.
Which is awesome. First time.
Incredible.
Okay.
First time.
Right. So we really want all these cells to start communicating with one another.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the whole idea. And as my little research in the background of it shows that that's the main event. I mean, you really want to get these cells to communicate with each other and just enhance it, because as we get older, we're not getting that done as efficiently.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. So why don't we talk about reactive oxygen and reduced species, which are two types of these molecules, and which one is for which?
Okay. So reactive oxygen species is the immune system.
Right.
So our immune system, again, this is a layman's version of it.
Yes.
And which is important, because when I'm explaining this to people, I tell them, you don't need to be a doctor or a healer. I'm a food guy. My whole life I thought you healed everything with chicken soup. So now I'm learning a whole different version of it.
Yes.
But our immune system needs to be efficient. And ASEA helps that happen.
Sure.
And also the reduced species activates the antioxidants.
Right.
So if you listen to any daytime TV, and there's some famous doctors on daytime TV who talk about the body's own super antioxidants, that in reality, for the last 30 years, we've been hearing about how you have to add in many more antioxidants into your body, which is a good thing. There's no doubt. But it's not the only thing.
Right.
Because our bodies actually produce its own super antioxidants, the most powerful antioxidants already inside of our body.
Right.
But unfortunately, due to certain factors such as toxins or
radiation, things like that.
Bad food choices, stress is one of the biggest problems, of course, and exercise, these antioxidant behavior starts to slow down. Right. And ASEA and redox signaling molecules has proven to be about the best way to increase these antioxidant behavior in the body.
And I think, am I correct in saying that there's a study just here in 2009 that has increased that 500%, which I think you're going to touch on a little bit, but I just want the audience to know that. So that's huge. I mean, you're getting so much more than from just your fruits and vegetables, right?
Absolutely. And it's 500% glutathione efficacy in efficiency of the body. It doesn't produce more of it. Right. It just makes it work better. Right. So which is great.
It's why a lot of people take vitamins and things. They think they're doing, that's a whole nother subject, of course. But, it is helping. But this is just shown to do it a lot stronger.
A lot stronger, a lot more efficiently.
Correct. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes a little bit. Of how much ASEA should you take? I mean, how do you take it? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Okay. Well, here's a bottle, of ASEA. It actually comes in two ways. So we have a 32-ounce bottle that this is an 8-day supply roughly, because you take about 4 ounces per day. Right. Now it's also, we've found out, and Dr. Foster Malmet and his wife Terry are the pioneers behind remember this is a 4-year-old company, so they've been involved now for 3 years, and they've rewritten some of the code on how to take the product. So they're very informative. And what we've learned is how you take the product is almost as important as the product itself. Okay. So when I was first introduced to it, I did what most guys do. Right. Not to pick on guys, but the women will love that, because women follow directions. Guys don't.
For sure.
I drank out of the bottle. And we found out that I was denaturing. It didn't work the first time I tried it, because drinking out of the bottle denatures the product. Right. Pour it into a plastic or a disposable cup or a glass, as long as it's dishwasher clean or soap and water clean. And we drink about 4 ounces a day, the average person. I drink between 4 and 6 ounces a day. That's what works for me. I feel great, no need to do more. But I will tell you, on days that I'm not feeling so great, and those days do happen, I'll drink 8 or 10 or 12. It doesn't matter, because it can't hurt you. Right. They also offer it in which is called this athletic pack, which is great for either athletes, people on the go, or if you're traveling. It's a great way. And this has a one-way valve. So
great
you could
for cyclists.
Yeah. Oh, great. Perfect for cyclists. Yeah. So 4 ounces a day for the average
person.
Correct.
Okay, what if you're an athlete? What if you're a professional athlete? Say you're in a triathlon, something of that nature. Do you increase the amount? Is it going to do you more good?
Oh, absolutely. Well, again, when an athlete is performing, whether it's a weekend warrior or a professional athlete, they're destroying the cells in their body. They're tearing their body apart in order for them to compete or for them to grow and build. That's just the nature of the beast. ASEA helps that body recover much quicker. So if we recommend, if you're going to do any type of major workout, maybe 4 ounces before and maybe 4 ounces afterwards might be very helpful.
Great. Okay, is it a safe product? I mean, that's always an important question for people to know. How safe is it? Is there any downside to taking it?
It is perfectly 100% safe. I don't know if there's ever been another product in the world that had zero toxicity. I have no idea, because even our own, a bottle of bottled water has some toxicity in it. This is zero toxicity. It is totally safe. There's been millions of dollars spent on the safety studies, and what they proved was that ASEA is safe for all major organs and systems. It is safe for all soft tissues and membranes of the nose, throat, and esophagus.
Okay, great, great. So how much salt is in ASEA?
Surprisingly, not that much. It's in a 4-ounce serving, which is the average adult serving. It's 123 milligrams, which is equivalent to like a piece of whole wheat toast or perhaps 3 large carrots. So it's not an enormous amount of salt. Now, we do have some people who say, well, they have a very restrictive diet, but they want to take ASEA. So we recommend maybe you want to reduce your salt in another area of your diet, and try to ASEA. And also, people with a diet like that will recommend perhaps to start on 1 ounce a day or 2 ounces a day to just get their body acclimated to it as well.
Makes sense, of course, and maybe drink a lot more water if you need to, because you have more salt in.
That's great talking to a doctor, because you get that. So we tell people, and when you first start out in ASEA is a detoxifier. And so now you want to detox, because I mean, I never knew when I went through detox, it was the first time in my life I ever went through it. I had no idea what the experience would be like. So detox is a very important part to healing. And water is the best thing in the world, because it'll help the body cleanse itself of all the toxins that are now floating throughout your body. And we've also seen, which is pretty amazing, that the people who go through the worst detox have the best results and quicker.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Okay, so let's go on to another topic, or a similar topic, about alkaline water and the difference between ASEA, salt water, and alkaline water. What are the differences?
Well, alkaline water, I don't have much experience with it, but I'm pretty familiar with the process. So there's a machine that people take, and they'll attach it to their
tap water
in their home. And so now you're not dealing with pure water, you're dealing with basically a tap water. And when they bring it up to a certain alkaline level, and I'm told that you must drink it relatively quickly. It's not a very stable product, but there's definitely been great reasons why people would want to drink that. ASEA is handled a whole different way. This is done in a laboratory. When it's produced in a perfectly balanced way. It is done with all the protections and safeties that a product should do. And because it's done so well, a 3-day electrochemical process that they put it through, it actually is incredibly stable. So you'll notice here that the expiration of this bottle, which just came out of a case that I opened, is of May of 2014. So we have a 12-month shelf life on the bottle.
Which is awesome.
Very stable.
Very good. Very stable. Okay, so how is it absorbed into the body?
So I may refer to those notes again.
Go right ahead.
ASEA is absorbed quickly through the water absorption channels in the soft tissues of the mouth, esophagus, and stomach lining. Also, what's really interesting is that ASEA has been known to actually survive in the stomach through all the acid. So this is, for this silly little water product, this thing works amazingly well, and it works amazingly fast. As a matter of fact, what I do and what I recommend to a lot of people after they take it for a couple of days, because the funny thing is we don't talk about the taste too much, and I'll bring it up anyway.
Okay, go right ahead.
It tastes, when people first taste ASEA, they're not sure what they're tasting. To me, it tastes like a mineral water. Some people get a taste of maybe like a pool water or salt water, a different taste. Some people, in the beginning, if their body's very toxic, might actually have a bad taste. So what we recommend is, in the beginning, just drink it. You may want to chill it, because it's easier to drink in the beginning until your body gets a little bit used to it, and then it becomes like regular water, like it is for me. When I drink it, I like to hold it in my mouth, and because the mouth has the most soluble tissue cells, so it gets into your system immediately.
Right.
And even if you're suffering from something, you could kind of hold it in your mouth and kind of like swish it around.
Sure, sure.
And sometimes those issues just go away like that.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, you know, there's a ton of scientific proof now out there. I know, as you had said before, there's so much on the internet. I know there have been some recent studies, you know, showing the benefit for detoxification and on and on. So let's just talk about, what does redox signaling mean to you? You know?
Sure. Well, with the studies are ongoing too.
Yeah.
The studies, I mean, they're really, the last year has been very kind to us in terms of now we have all of this great background to talk about. A couple of years ago, there was very little. Right. So it's wonderful now that the scientific community is all getting involved and helping us make this happen. But, you know, so what redox signaling means to me, you, or any of the viewing audience is basically we want healthy tissues and cells. You want a healthy heart, well, you need healthy heart cells. Healthy liver cells, healthy stomach cells. So what's happening with these redox signaling molecules is that it's increasing our communication that's going through our body and allowing our body to heal the way it was meant to. Right. So. Right.
Similarly to chiropractic, a lot of natural approaches, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's the anti-aging benefit?
Oh, incredible stuff.
Isn't it?
Okay, so many studies have been done to prove that, you know, we've always known that as we age, our bodies become less efficient. Right. But there really hasn't been an exact answer as to why. Right. And I think ASEA takes us definitely one step, maybe two steps, even 3 steps closer to figuring out why. Sure. So what happens is the body, as we age, our body loses the ability to produce these redox signaling molecules. We're still producing them, just less efficiently. Okay. So it's manifested in 2 ways. So let's say we take a young child. Okay. You take that 8-year-old boy, you put him out in your backyard and you tell him to run around. He's going to run around for 12 hours. Right. Never stop. As a matter of fact, we always you heard that statement, if we could only bottle that. Yes. Well, we did.
There you go. That's great.
And so now that young child will run around for all day long, and when they're tired, they'll go to sleep. Right. And when they wake up the next morning, is that 8-year-old saying, oh, my aching back? Yeah. No. They're ready to go again. They're fresh. They're new. Because their body's reproduction of these signaling molecules is so efficient that their body heals quickly. Right. Now, if that child were to fall and get hurt, okay, same thing. Their bodies would have a scar or a bruise or a boo-boo. Right. That would all start to heal very quickly. Right. Now let's fast forward. An older person runs around all day. Right. What happens the next day? Right. Their body starts. Get up. Exactly. We've all been there. Sure. We hit middle age and we start to go, wow, I'm hurting in areas I didn't even know I had. Correct. You know, and not only that, also we notice cuts and scrapes don't actually heal as quickly as they did when we were younger. Right. And usually when we look towards our parents' ages, they may never heal. Yeah. And their soreness kind of never goes away because their body's reproduction of signaling molecules slows down. Right. That's great. So it also powers up the antioxidant shields, which we talked about a little bit, right? Absolutely. And I think we mentioned that. So it's tuning up the cell's communications, right? Absolutely. Which is really the main event here. And optimizes the correct immune system function. Absolutely. Right? And let's talk about this one, powering up the aerobic performance of an athlete or just in general, the weekend warrior. Okay. So a wonderful study that we had heard for quite a while was coming. Was done by an organization called the Metabolic Institute down at Appalachian State University. Okay. And it's run by a gentleman, Dr. David Neiman, and they did an extensive study there. And it's all on the internet, and anybody can go in there and look up the research, and also, you know, we'll give you some information at the end with a website where you can get all of this is verified, which is important. Yeah. So this is a not-for-profit facility. This is a place that you cannot, this is not done, you know, people have said, oh, was this a paid off, you know, these companies pay off. Right. Oh, no. This is without a doubt the greatest credibility in the industry. What this institute does is it measures the nutrition value of foods and supplements. Big names like Duke University is involved, and Dole Foods and things. It's incredible. So they did a study, and it took several months, where they wanted to find out, was this product for real? And their results, which are now being published, were extraordinary. Yeah. You know, and just to touch on the 5 undisputed scientific facts that they found is, one, they proved the product has zero toxicity.
Right.
Two, they also proved that inside of that bottle contains trillions of redox signaling molecules. It is no longer salt water. It is not a placebo. The people who are getting the effect of it, they're for real.
Right.
As well, they proved that ASEA, or redox signaling molecules, cause major metabolic shifts in the body. Now, metabolic shifts are very important if anyone wants to. We're not into the weight loss arena, but metabolic shifts help the body use the fuel cells in the fat
more efficiently, breaking down.
Exactly, instead of glycogen. So it helps the body become more efficient. So an athlete who's using ASEA has so much more efficiency than an athlete not using ASEA.
Right.
And then they proved they did mice studies.
Yeah.
And it's hard to actually, the big joke is that definitely that's how they proved it wasn't a placebo, because it's hard to get mice to do anything they don't want to do.
Right.
Well, ASEA redox signaling molecules increased 29% the endurance and activity of mice.
Right.
And the other thing that they proved was that using mice again during this testing period, that it produced 33% less burning of glycogen.
Great.
Pretty incredible.
That's very incredible. Let's talk about, before we get to the end here, which we're coming close, okay, what are redox signaling molecules exactly? So, and where do they come from? Just if you could touch on that.
In the body?
Yes.
You mean, okay, well, in our body, and in everything that has more than one cell has a reproduction of cells.
Right.
So you have the
mitochondria doing this.
Mitochondria is doing its job, which is, again, our cells are made up predominantly of salt water.
Right.
They take this salt water, and what they do is they create these signalers. Right. And the body is the most amazing tool in the world. We've always heard this, and here's another example of it. So this efficient system in our body is that it produces these redox signaling molecules, and they're used immediately where they need to be used.
Right.
So you can't tell a redox signaling molecule, hey, I'd like to be 3 inches taller, or hey, I want to heal this, or hey, I want to heal it. You can't tell it to do that. The redox signaling molecule will go to the part of the body that it needs to go to through an incredible signaling system. So now, this is what's going on in our body all the time. ASEA basically does the same thing, but we do it in a lab, and they're recreating that same process exactly.
Great. Okay. So where do we go from here?
Well, this is still new science.
Right.
This is still new, and it's amazing, and we're very excited that we are, the only company to have this science. Right. Now, sure, there are other ways for people to be well and to heal well and to get well and to do everything that they want to do and to be efficient, but we feel that this is the best way to do it. Right. This company is got the best management I've ever seen in this industry. They're ready to go. We've been we've got now, over 100,000 people who taken the product. Right. We've seen millions and millions of doses, and everything's going in the right direction with no expense of toxicity. So we're
awesome.
Our job, my experiences now is that I want to get this word out to as many people as possible. Great. So,
well, what a great product that you have. And tonight we've been talking about ASEA. I want to thank Mr. DiNapoli for being here on the show, and we look forward to seeing you on the next show.